students. A very good morning to all of you. This is Assistant Professor Ishani Trivedi from LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. Welcome back to the session of the building construction subject, in which we were discussing at last about the topic named formwork in construction. Now, you know what is a formwork. If you have watched the previous lectures, which is actually mandatory to watch because all of these lectures are going in continuation, okay. And so, we had discussed about the formwork, okay. What is a formwork? It is a temporary structure which is provided for concreting work, okay, for masonry work. Now, we had discussed first formwork for RCC wall, and second we had discussed formwork for RCC beam and slab, in which I just discussed only about the sketch, okay. I had asked you to attempt the drawing, the sketch of RCC wall and RCC beam and slab. I hope you guys have tried it, okay. So now let us move further. Let us come back and discuss the formwork for RCC beam and slab, which you can see over here, which is flashing over here. You can see the image. I will move a little bit further and you can see the arrangement. The arrangement for at the top you can see. At the top you can see you have the boarding plank, okay. I'll take this part. Both of them are similar. Both of them are same. So I'll take first this part, that for the slab, for the beam. For the beam and the slab, you can also see that concreting work is done over here, correct? This is your symbol for concrete work. You can see that the flat boarding plank is placed and then it is connected with the help of the box, which is for the beam. Now next you can see this is a quick revision. I have already gone through the whole sketch. Let me make it quick. So you can see that you have vertical support below the beam box, okay. Now you have to support this beam box because when you pour the concrete, it will undergo heavy stresses as well, and the weight of the concrete will also add to the dead load. Then what you have provided over here is your diagonal braces, okay. So this makes your the part of the beam. Next, you have for the slab, and for the slab you have to provide again another vertical support. I have made space for you to watch. So another vertical support is provided. So intermediate supports are to be provided for the slab as and many required, and this makes your whole formwork for RCC beam and slab. Look at the another image over here. I'll just have a look. You can see that the slabs are provided, and the middle part which you can see, I'll just flash. Okay, the middle part which you can see here is your is for the slab. Okay, now let us continue. Also, one more thing, you can see over here the horizontal braces, okay. These horizontal or the diagonal braces are provided to support your vertical posts, vertical struts. All of these names are just differing, otherwise everything is going to be almost similar. Now, what are the points to remember? What are the points to remember when you are performing the concreting work for the RCC beam and slab? Slab means floor. Both of them will go simultaneously together. Let us have a look at the points. You can see it is flashing over here. You can also make it remember it by reading them once or twice. So, the first thing, formwork has to be designed for additional 30% load. Now, why do you need to do this? Why is this an important point, and why do you need to design your formwork for additional load? Now, if you see the slab part at top, okay. Now, how will you pour the concrete over there? The workers are going to move and stand at the top, at the slab part, at the boarding plank of your slab, and then they will pour the concreting work will be done. So for that, you can say that at the whole slab and the beam boxes, now the workers are going to stand over it. So which type of load will add? Live load. Second, you would have also seen that sometimes construction material or equipment, or say for compaction when equipments are used, all of these things may be stored at the surface. If you are going for 10th floor or 15th floor, then sometimes it so may occur that as the structure is succeeding, okay, the equipment may be transferred and placed at the top part. So this will add to which load? Dead load. So to combine all this load, to resist all this extra load, you have to always design your formwork for additional 30% load, so that no kind of failure or any kind of damage occurs. Next point, what do you have the next point? It says the vertical post should be provided with horizontal or diagonal braces. This should be understood from the sketch as well, that it is important to provide. You can see that it has to be provided. Next, you can use steel forms for the slab. For the slab part, steel forms can be used, but for the beams, generally wooden boxes are used. Next point. Now, the boxes for the beams, they are not erected on site, they are prefabricated at first. Generally, we have standard sizes of the beams, or say for the particular structure, standard size of the beam would be selected, keeping in mind also economy point of view. Okay, so those will be prefabricated and taken to the site, and with the help of elevator or the lift, it will be taken and will be fixed with the help of nut and bolts, which arrangement you can see over here. You can see that. Okay, so it will be fixed and the boarding planks for the slab shall be placed. Okay, next about sloping part. Formwork should be given slope, because for a floor it is necessary to provide slopes. Let us say for the bathrooms, okay, for your WC, for water closets, for bathrooms, it is utmost important. Then the wash area in the kitchen, also for your other rooms and halls, to drain off the excess water, to drain off any kind of spillage of water, and specifically in the wash area, you have to drain off the water from the drain pipe or the opening which is provided. So for that, it is necessary to keep in mind that it should be designed for the slope as well. It should not be completely flat. Okay. So these are the points, theoretical points, description to be remembered when you talk about formwork for RCC, slab and floor. Sorry, slab and beam. Okay. Now moving forward to the next type of formwork, that is your formwork for RCC column. Okay. Now what can you see over here in the column? Have a look at this image. You can see this whole sketch elevation. You are supposed to draw this as well. Okay. So now here what you can see, you have four sides of the boxes. Okay, you have four sides of the boxes. Those are known as boarding planks, sheathing planks. Okay, you can call it vertical planks. Okay, all of these I have already mentioned that only the words shall differ. Otherwise, it is nothing but vertical, horizontal, and diagonal kind of braces or planks. Okay, or boards. It is just the same. Only the names are differing. Okay. So now what you can see in this image is you have four sides of the column, the box. Okay. Now these four sides will be made up of generally wood or plywood or whatever material is going to be used. Okay. Then you have horizontal. Have a look over here. You can see the first one and the second one. You can see those are your horizontal members by which your four boarding planks are connected. That is known as horizontal member, known as yokes. They are known as yokes. Next, you can see the yokes are connected with the help of nut and bolt setup, the arrangement, and this together makes your whole box for a column. Now, you can see one more thing, a washout space or a washout. I'll give you space to read. You have a washout space. Washout space is generally provided for what purpose? We shall discuss that in the points, or let me just say it right now. A washout hole is provided for the purpose of draining of the water. Which water? I had said that before performing concreting work in any kind of formwork, it is necessary to clean it. It is necessary to clean it, to give a wash. So, when you give this a wash before performing the concreting work, it is necessary to remove the excess, the drain water, by which you have provided the wash of water. So, to remove that, you have at the bottom the washout space, and then it shall be sealed and your work will be done. So, what are the points to remember? Have a look at the points over here. It has to be designed to resist high pressure from quick filling of concrete, because the area enclosed shall be small. It will be as compared to slabs and beams, it shall be small. So, bursting stresses can occur. So, it has to be designed to resist the same. A washout hole, about that point we already discussed. The spacing of yoke, you can see over here the yokes are provided. The spacing has to be generally 1 meter. Next, this is pretty obvious thing that depending on the shape of the column, box can be prepared, can be circular or square or rectangular. A washout space is discussed. Wash of water before concreting is also discussed. Now the boxes have to be designed in such a way that you can reuse them. Again, the point of economy, okay, and the wooden yokes, if you provide generally wooden yokes and the boarding planks with plywood, then wooden yokes are actually efficient and cheap, so they can be used. Okay, students, so this covers your formwork for various structural members. Now, we are going to discuss next formwork for arch construction. Okay, for the curved surface. Where is arch generally provided? At the top of any opening in the building, at the top of a door or a window. Okay, now arch shaped construction, how do you construct that shape? If you have seen my lectures regarding the lintel and arches, then you would be knowing that what is an arch construction, what are its different types, and what are its technical terms. It is mandatory to watch it so that the terms which I use over here can be understood by you. Okay. So now, for constructing the arch, now I am talking about one thing. You have soffit. Okay, what is soffit? Look at the image. Okay, look at the image very carefully. You have a curved shape piece at the top, and if you go to bottom, the underneath side of the width, the underneath width of the arch will be called soffit. Okay, so now if the width of the soffit, underneath width is 10 centimeter, then the most common type of centering for arch shall be used. In general cases, timber centering is used, but for large scale constructions where reuse is going to be more, at that time you can use steel centering. Now, we will not call it here as formwork, we shall call it as centering. Okay, it is your temporary structure for construction of arch. Look at this, you can see that the top part, now you will have a flat rectangular shaped wooden beam. You have to cut that wooden beam from top such that it matches your shape of the intrados of the arch which is required to construct. It means if you are constructing an arch, then the bottom curving part, which is called intrados, you have to cut your wooden piece such that it matches the shape of your intrados of the arch. Then that piece will be called as known as turning piece. Your piece will be known as, wooden beam will be known as turning piece. Next, this turning piece is supported with the help of vertical post or vertical struts, and between the vertical strut and the turning piece you can see a joint which is called wedges. It is flexible, so this makes your centering the basic type of centering where the soffit width is 10 centimeter. Now, if you have soffit width more than 10 centimeter, okay, see if I say 10 centimeter, it is half brick thickness. Okay, now if you have 10 centimeter or more, then look at the image over here, how the turning piece changes. Yes, you can see that the turning piece is changing. Okay, now the width is more. So if the width is more, then you have to provide intermediate supports. You can see in the image at the top, you have to provide intermediate supports for resting the view source for the blocks of the arc construction. Those horizontal supports which are connected throughout your turning piece are called laggings, wooden laggings. Next, vertical post shall remain the same, wedges shall remain the same. There will be certain variations, but if the span of the arch is also more, along with the soffit width, the span is also more, then what you have to do is you have to provide diagonal and vertical braces. It is understood that more stability shall be required. So this makes your centering for arch having soffit width greater than 10 centimeter. Next, have a look at the timber centering, which you can see. Okay, have a look. This is your timber centering. Okay, how it looks when it is constructed. It is just an animated image. Okay, okay students, so moving forward. Now, as I said that centering is generally made up of two different type of material. You have first material, that is wooden, that is wooden centering, okay, timber centering, and second you have is steel centering. Okay, how do you define centering? It means that the temporary structure provided for arch construction is known as centering. Okay, what are the factors? I think you should be able to think about the factors, that what all factors will affect your selection of type of centering. It will depend on the span, it will depend on the shape, it will depend on the soffit width. All these are your factors. Okay students, moving forward now, there are three different types of centering. Now if you see, we have three different types of centering. Okay, first is your steel truss centering, second is timber truss centering, and third is trestle centering. Now for the steel truss and timber truss, you know what is a truss structure. Okay, truss means number of members are connected to each other and a full structure is formed, is your truss structure. So there are certain cases when you will require steel truss, when you will require timber truss. For the steel truss and timber truss, you can see the conditions flashing over here as well, that when you are dealing with certain critical conditions, when say your support is going to, or say your arch support is going to rest under water, it depends that what kind of water you are dealing with. It may be having, so it may be subject to frequent flooding. It may have high velocity, it may be stagnant water. Sometimes it may be required that you are constructing arch midway, mid-road, where the traffic flow is continuously on and you cannot stop it. So in that case, you can erect the whole truss structure, and on top of that you can construct the arch while your traffic moves on. Okay. Third type is your trestle centering. Now what is trestle centering? It means that you are providing support directly from the ground level, from the flat surface. Look at the image flashing over here. Can you see that image? Okay, you have a roller coaster ride. Okay, that is nothing but made out of steel and arc construction. Can you see that the support, temporary support, is directly provided from the ground? Yes, you can see vertical post, you can see horizontal post, and you can see diagonal braces. So this type of temporary support provided, it may be resting permanently as well in certain cases. So that type of centering is called trestle centering. Have a look at this image. This is your trestle bridge. Okay, this is not for arch construction, but I am just trying to show what is a trestle. You can see it is directly resting from the ground. Look at the trestle type of bridge. Can you see in this image now? Yes, this is your arch construction, and you can see the post, the support directly resting from the ground, which makes your trestle centering. Okay. Now, moving forward, have a look at the video which is running over here. I'll give you 1 second. Okay. Now, look at the video very well. You can see that concrete is being poured. You can see over here. See, concrete is being poured. Correct? Now, it is removed. it is lifted up, and again the process is repeated. Can you understand that? Now how it looks for real? Look at the image flashing above me over here. This looks for real. That again, look at the video. I'll just play it for you again. Okay. So now again you can see, yes, concrete is being filled. So both of the walls are filled. Okay. As soon as it is filled, concreting work is done, it is hardened enough, it will be lifted up, it will be extruded up with the help of hydraulic jack, and again the process shall be repeated, and like this continuously full tall structure will be constructed. This type of formwork is known as slip formwork. Note that this is a special type of formwork used for tall structures only. It can be horizontal, it can be vertical. If I talk about horizontal, it means tunnel or highway pavements. It depends on the requirement. So which you can see image over here, the flashing one. You can see it is lifted with hydraulic jack, and the projection part is your working platform for the workers where they can stand and perform the concreting work. Now quickly concluding this type of formwork, that if you want to define slip formwork, then how do you define it? It means that you are pouring the concrete, that you are constructing the continuous core wall of a tall structure. You are performing the concreting work, and concreting work is done in such a way that 100 mm per hour, 100 mm height of concreting work is done, and immediately it is lifted. It may be given certain time. So here what type of concrete you are going to use? You will have self-compacting, self-hardening and fast rapid hardening concrete will be used, and as soon as it is hardened, it will not require curing, it will be self-curing. Then your slip formwork will be slipped, it will be vertically extruded with the help of hydraulic jack, and the process shall be continued up to the required height of the structure. This type of formwork is your slip formwork. Look for real in front of you. How you can look at this image and think that traditional formwork would not be useful, would not be economical in this type of tall structures. Okay, so what are the specific uses? Again, look at the parts over here. You can see the vertical post, the horizontal post. Again, the yoke word is repeating over here. You will have hydraulic jack, you will have slip formwork. Okay, so what are the uses? Okay, any kind of tall structures, okay, horizontal and vertical, high-rise buildings, coolant towers, transmission towers, horizontal tunnels, road, bridges, all these things can be constructed with slip formwork. It is very speedy construction, it is economical and very much easy to use as well, and for high-rise structures the work will be done very fast and efficiently. Okay students, so this covers your formwork and centering. In the next session we shall move forward. Thank you students.